Hello. I get a lot of questions in YouTube comments about my recorded acoustic guitar tone, and I thought today I would make a video sort of explaining how I achieve the sound that I have in my YouTube guitar videos. So I'm going to tell you guys about the gear I'm using and then kind of how I take the two signals that I make during my recordings and put them together in my DAW. Before I jump into it, I just want to say that I have a Patreon where I publish tutorials and tabs that you can download in both PDF and Guitar Pro format. I also am on Instagram, and I stream regularly on twitch.tv/TomInBoston, where I play guitar for about 3 hours, 3 mornings a week. If you're up for it, you should drop by. So I'm going to start with my guitar. This is a guitar I've had for a really long time. I bought it when I was like 16 years old. It is a Stonebridge 23 CR. These guitars are no longer sold as Stonebridge. They're sold by the original brand name Ferk. I own a couple of these guitars. This is my primary instrument. You can kind of tell by how beat up it is. And then I have another standard acoustic guitar that I sometimes record with. And then I have a baritone guitar, which you guys have seen in a lot of my YouTube videos, and that's also a cedar and Indian rosewood Ferk. It's like this guitar, but it's got a bigger body and a longer scale length to accommodate baritone tuning. It's a great sounding guitar, but also it's got a pickup in it. Before I get into that though, let's talk about this microphone here. So this is an AKG P420. It's a fairly inexpensive large diaphragm condenser that I use for all of my guitar recordings, including guitar recordings that I've made for example, my most recent album called Rebound. The AKG P420 is kind of a staple for me. It's like the one microphone I own, and I find that it does the trick. I don't really use a lot of super expensive equipment. I have this AKG pointed at the 14th fret, and that's kind of how I always record guitar when I'm using one large diaphragm condenser. On my guitar itself and all of my acoustic guitars, I use the same pickup. This is a Fishman Rare Earth mic blend. This pickup has a magnet that goes across the sound hole, but this also has the addition of a gooseneck condenser microphone that I can kind of move around in the guitar, and I'm able to, using a wheel in this pickup, I'm able to blend between microphone and magnet. And right now, for me, I find that the ideal setting for both recording and when I do my live streams on Twitch is 60%, 55 or 60% magnet and like 40% microphone. I find that works for me. I use this pickup in all of my guitars thanks to Fishman. They sent me a number of them, and I've been really pretty thrilled with the results that I get out of this thing, and I found that it's become a really important part of my video recording workflow. But the pickup isn't all I use. I also have a pedal board, actually, with some pedals on there that sort of stay on all the time that I don't really mess with. So here's my pedal board. I know it's kind of a mess. It's like dusty. It's got cat hair on it, but it does the trick. Don't judge me too harshly for the condition of my pedal board, but let me walk you through what I have on here. So I have the first thing in my chain here is a Pro EQ Mini, also courtesy of Fishman. This is an EQ pedal. It's got a number of bands on it. I use this primarily to boost my bass and to add in a little bit of treble. This pedal is probably the most important pedal I have on the board for dialing in my tone. After that, I have this JHS Whitey Tighty. I've wanted to experiment with using a compressor on my pedal board for quite a while, and I've found that having one on there kind of adds a little bit of punch that I've been looking for. There are certain sounds in fingerstyle guitar that I really like that are sort of a consequence of playing fingerstyle guitar. So I like plucky sounds. I like to be able to, personally, I like to be able to hear string noise. And I also find that the compressor helps to cut down on the harshness of some of the slaps. Like the slap when I'm playing fingerstyle guitar is the loudest thing that I do, and this helps contain that a little bit so that it doesn't hurt every time I slap the guitar. Next to that, I've got this bad boy. This is a Boss OC5 octave pedal. For those wondering, this certainly explains how I get some really low, heavy bass response from some of the things I play. The way I have this pedal dialed in right now is such that it only really affects certain pitches on the 2 lowest strings. Most of the time, those pitches are the ones that act as like a root note. And since I'm playing it solo, I find that having that extra low just fills out sort of the sonic space a little bit better. And then for my last 2 pedals, I have a Fishman AFX Acoustiverb, which is a reverb pedal. It's got settings for spring, plate, and hall reverb. I have it set on hall. I like the character of the hall reverb the best. You've got knobs for decay time, tone, and then level. I actually don't use this when I'm recording YouTube videos. I I add reverb after the fact in my DAW. And then lastly, on the pedal board here, something I never use in YouTube videos is a loop pedal. This is one I specifically use for my live streams on Twitch if I'm playing loop covers or standards or something like that. And that's my little pedal board. It sounds really great through the amp, which is the next part of my signal chain. For all the recording I do and for the live streams, and even when I'm teaching guitar, I use the Fishman Loudbox Mini as my amplifier. So this pedal board's going into that. And then on the back of that amp, there's DI out, and I feed that right into my Scarlett 2i2. It works really great. I'm like super satisfied with the sound. So I've got my microphone signal and my direct signal coming from my Fishman amplifier. And I take those two signals and actually pan them left and right, about 35 or 40% in my DAW when I'm recording specifically for YouTube. But I find that the combination of these two things together makes for a pretty big sounding acoustic guitar tone that I'm pretty satisfied with. Now, I want to qualify everything I'm saying by saying that I'm not a recording expert. I work with the equipment that I have to try and find a tone that I think works best for me and one that I really like. Like anything, it could still use work, but it's come a long way since I started recording. The same kind of sounds that you hear in my YouTube videos are the same sounds that I use to record digital releases. My most recent album is all of the equipment I just showed you. Nothing is different. The primary difference is that I have a really great mastering engineer. Now, the final part of my recording process is my digital audio workstation. I've got Reaper open here. In fact, it's recording my voice audio right now. All I really use in Reaper is their multi-band EQ, and I use it to add in a high-pass filter. I kind of cut out everything 120 hertz and below just to clear up some mud, and then I'll just tweak here and there. Acoustic guitars are acoustic guitars, and some days they sound different based on the weather. So I'll tweak my EQ every time I record just a little bit, just to make sure things are clear and that there's no frequencies that I can detect that are painful to listen to. So I don't do a lot. And then finally, on a separate track, I use Reaper's stock reverb. Actually, I think it sounds pretty good. It suits my purposes just fine. And then I'll put an EQ on that because I personally prefer a darker reverb in my recordings. And all of those things put together is how I produce this acoustic guitar tone that I'm personally really happy with, and the one that some of you have been asking about. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful or interesting, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you guys particularly like this video, I'd like to make more that are like it. And if you have questions about this video or kind of tackling your own acoustic guitar tone, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I am certainly happy to try and help. So thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you for the next one.